I've been called in here, Dr. Anthony and myself have been called in here to talk about what are we doing in Boise. And we moved there about 3 years ago, and we're making great strides out there. We are taking all of Boise, not part of it, but we want it all. So we've got a lot of things going on out there, and I want to talk about some of the things we're doing in our ministry and who we are. Creation Training Initiative, I did not come up with the last word there, I had somebody else give us the word, but we have a nice little acronym, CTI. But we very seldom use the word initiative because most people can't spell it. So we just call ourselves Creation Training. We're a 501c3. We started in February 2011, and we have a mission statement. That's the first thing we did, set up our mission statement. What we do is equip Christians with the knowledge and skills to teach biblical creation and apologetics so that they in turn can go out and train the next generation, equip them to be able to stand firm and defend their faith. It's called discipleship. That's what our ministry is about. One of the best verses in the Bible, 2 Timothy 2:2. Paul is talking to Timothy and says, Timothy, now that I've trained you, you go out and do what I did. You train others how to teach also. And that's what our ministry is about. It's not being a big ministry. That's not what we want to do. It's being small and training others. Our team, we only have 4 of us. 2 of us go by the name Riddle. And the other one goes by the name of Raul Langan, or son-in-law. And then we have Dr. Anthony Silvestro. That's what we have there. We have a board of directors and also an advisory board that we're accountable to. One of the things we do is we offer one-day training classes. This is a little different type of training classes. You come to our classes, you're in class 8:30 to 5:30. We don't have round tables where you sit around and discuss things. You're in class all that time, working hard. We give you a lunch break. We give you up to 45 minutes, depending. We don't charge churches for these classes. And we go anywhere in the country to do these. So it's a freebie to the church. That's how we get into the small, medium-sized churches all the time. What we do is charge our students $45 for adults, $25 for teens. You get a 100-page manual, and we feed you lunch. We will take the risk at losing the money, not the church. So we're trying to be a very strong ministry on this. We have a basic creation training class, which is for teens and above. We want to get those teens in there. Then we have an advanced creation apologetics where we get into the presuppositional apologetics, answer some of the tough questions. Then we have Christian Educators Conference, which is a one-day class for anyone who wants to teach or who are already teachers out there. We train you on what you need to know before you start teaching this. We also train you on what in the world is Christian education, what is it supposed to be, and how do you educate for success. You'll find most of our Christian schools are no different methodology-wise than our public schools. We've got to up the ante on Christian education, make it different, and start succeeding. So those are 3 of our one-day classes. We just piloted a brand new course. It's 3 days long called Communication and Teaching Skills. If we're going to train people how to speak and teach, we need to have a course like that. It's 3 days long. 8:30 to 5:30. You just don't come and sit there and listen. You have to do 2 5-minute presentations. And I say 5 minutes, I have a stopwatch. 1/10 of a second over, we take a point off your grade. It's fun. Then you have to do 2 8-minute teaching sessions where we grade you on your presentation skills as well as how well you can engage a classroom and how you get people involved in that classroom without ever embarrassing them. Then you do a written final exam. Well, it's both. It's one, you have to write a detailed outline for a 1-hour talk. Then you have to get up and do an 8-minute talk, and we grade you on your PowerPoint slides and your speaking abilities. We only take 8 people in that class because it's very heavy on the workshop. That's the kind of training we do. We don't do online training because that doesn't tell me you really know it. Doesn't tell me you can really do it. We're producing doers of the word out there. Then we have our elite course. It's a 5-day course. This will be our 6th year to do this course. We only do it once a year. We have special requirements for it. But this course called Creation Apologetics Teachers College. I don't know if there's too many courses like this anywhere in Christianity. The biggest thing we get is this from our students. This was the most intense class I've ever been in my life, and I loved it. This year it will be held August 12th through the 17th. It's going to be at Ridgecrest Conference Center. We only take 40 students, college age and above. You don't come to this class to sit around either. You'll be in the classroom up to 10 hours a day for 5 days. And you will not get tired. That is my command. No one will ever admit they're tired in my classes. Because in the back of this classroom, marked off in red masking tape, is what is called the push-up box. And many people do visit that. But you're in class 10 hours a day, and you have to do 2 presentations. Make sure you know how to do this. We grade you on everything in there, and again, I have my stopwatch. I'm known for having stopwatches. And then you have to do a written final exam, closed book, closed note. We have a very good success rate with this, just about 100%. I do not train for failure. We train for success. And we will work as a team for everyone's success. That's how we do education. What does this class cost? $570. Well, Mike, that's a lot of money. Well, not when you think what you get for this. Then when you get the 5-day class. You also get a 350-page manual, and we cover every page, those 5 days. Then you get a room, hotel style, private room, private bath. That right there is almost $500. Then you get 3 good meals a day, not hot dogs and pizza, but 3 good healthy meals a day. That all get all that for $570. We have to supplement this because that's only about half the cost for every student that has to attend to our ministry. So we supplement this. We don't want money to be the issue. People cannot learn God's word and get well trained. We'll take the loss if we have to. We also offer scholarships for this to help people. We have an essay scholarship. We have donors that donate $570 a piece. We usually have 3 or 4 winners every year based on how well they can write. This year's challenge is answer this in 450 words or less. Should Christian schools teach all views about creation and then let their students decide for themselves what to believe? That's called moral relativism, folks. That is what a lot of our Christian schools are doing. And we have several in the Boise area doing just that. We're going to stop it. We're putting a stop to that because we're holding another special conference this year called the Youth Pastor and Christian Educator Conference. And we know how to get them to come. There's a good barbecue place in Boise. It's well known, and we're catering that lunch in. So that's one reason they're coming, and we have some good speakers coming. But we're going to get them, and we're going to let them know that they need to be trained, and then we're going to train them. And we're going to be successful. We won't tolerate failure in this thing. Because what's at stake, folks, is this next generation. We've got to get this next generation trained because we're losing too many. If you want more information, we have brochures in the back table as you come in on the 5-day class. We have information on the essay contest. We have samples of our manuals in there so you can see how we do our training there. So feel free to pick those up and look at them. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Anthony Silvestro, and he's going to talk about something new we are in the process of developing. Anthony?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're really excited about this thing that we're creating right now, and it's based off of a challenge that we see out here. How can we equip thousands of youth to stand firm on God's word, and then to be able to defend their faith on top of it? What we're seeing out there is youth rallies. Do those seem to work? Not at all. What about making Sunday school fun? I mean, who's read the book Judge Not, where we've got youth pastors learning how to put peanut butter in their armpits and having their youth kids lick it off? This is what, I kid you not, this is what's happening today in Sunday school and youth programs. What our job here is to provide the answer, and we have the answer. We want to be able to teach sound doctrine to the youth, as we see in Titus. We want to teach them to defend the faith, as we see in 1 Peter and Jude 3. And most importantly, we want them to know the gospel, share the gospel, and defend the gospel. Basically, we want to equip them for the battlefield. So what we're proposing is a new curriculum, unlike anything that you've seen out there today. And it's going to comprise of 8 classes that take 3 full days for each class to complete. The first one Mike already went over, the communication teaching skills course. What's so unique about this is that education is in disarray today. Education has become so-called educators standing in front of a group of people and just tossing out information. As much information as you can possibly get out, and watch people walk back out not actually learning anything. And so what we want to do is to teach actual teaching methods and ways that we can actually teach the youth to be able to walk out and know certain types of information that they can go out and share with others. The second class that we're going to teach on is what is the correct biblical worldview. We're going to start with presuppositional apologetics, starting with God's Word, and then teaching all the basic tenets of the faith. The next class, again, these are all 3-day classes, is going to be the Bible, Science, and Evolution. A lot of what this ministry here at AIG is built on, being able to teach of the evil of evolution, why we have to understand a biblical creation, why we have to understand Genesis properly to be able to interpret the rest of the Bible in the correct manner. The fourth class is biblical apologetics. So this is where we're getting into certain things like, who did Cain marry? And other questions that we often get on the streets. I do a lot of open air preaching, and I love going to college campuses and getting asked questions like, well, is it really true that Noah fit all these animals on the ark? Oh, come on. Do you really believe this? We want to be able to provide students with answers. We want to be able to provide teachers with those answers so they can teach the students. Course number 5, why the Bible is true. I'm certain if I ask for a raise of hands, how many of you have been asked if the Bible is true by unsaved family members, loved ones, or even strangers you might be sharing the good news of the gospel with? We need to teach people how to teach why the Bible is true, how we use the Bible to show that it's true. We also have a class on moral issues. Think about today where we live in a world where people are confused and they dress in clothes of the opposite sex. We have moral issues like homosexuality. We have issues like the sanctity of life. We saw what just happened in New York. So we want to be able to train people first biblically on how to respond to these challenges, and then also show them the science and show how good science always supports the Bible in these areas. One of the challenges I often give is when people are confronted with moral challenges, when they're confronted really with anything in today's society, if you have a really good understanding of the Bible, you should be able to answer any challenge that is given to you. And that's what we want to be able to teach. The next class is evangelism and witnessing. We're going to walk through biblical evangelism, a la Ray Comfort style evangelism, using the law to show people their sin and then give them the gospel. And in this course, we're also going to show how to respond to the world religions. We're going to teach you the basic tenets of some of the other religions you're going to come across, like Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons and Roman Catholics and so on. We're going to teach you about that, and we're going to teach you how the Bible is correct and where it contradicts those false religions. And then the last course is one of my favorites in this curriculum. It's going to be the practicum. So some of you in here have been out with me on the streets up in New York City, and I find that New York City is one of my favorite places to go do open air preaching at. 11 o'clock at night on a Friday night, and imagine standing on a box and you're getting to preach the good news to people. And you've got 200 people standing around you firing questions at you, left and right. And not just firing questions. I mean, today, when people got iPhones in their pockets, what do when they want to stump the Christian on the box? They're pulling their iPhones and coming up with anything they can. We want to train people to be so good that they can stand on that box at 11 o'clock on a Friday night and be able to handle a crowd, to be able to answer all the objections. Because if you can do that, you certainly can do that at Christmas dinner time with your unsafe family members. You can do that in an elevator, in 30-second evangelism. You can do that anywhere in fulfilling the Great Commission, as we're called to do, which is as you go to make disciples. So in this curriculum, we're going to have 2 levels of accreditation. And this accreditation, we're getting endorsements right now from various theologians, college professors, evangelists, apologists, and scientists out there to back this course. And in this first level of accreditation, we are going to look on, first, an accredited speaker on creation, evolution, and apologetics. And the second level of accreditation is going to be what we call a master apologist. So in the master teacher accreditation, out of those 8 courses we listed, the first 5 will be required for them to go through. But not just to go through these courses, not just to undergo the workshops and the training where they're going to have to give presentations that are graded, as Mike already said, but there's also going to be a lot of required reading. So there's a number of books they're going to have to read before they even walk into the class. They'll already have to have a baseline level of knowledge. They'll have to have submitted some type of outlines to us to show they've gone through the books and have a good level of understanding before they come in. And then, to be a master teacher, they're going to have to come in and co-teach a course with other Mike or I, and have to go through an entire one-day training where we can evaluate their actual ability to teach and the ability for those students to be able to walk out and show that they can comprehend the information and be able to give it to someone else. In our Master Apologist accreditation, it'll be the first 5 courses, so there'll be a master teacher at this point. And then they're going to go through those last 3 courses, which focuses a lot more on going out into the world and being able to have answers for all those questions and challenges that are asked of them. And of course, there'll be more required readings through this. So when somebody gets through a Master Apologist accreditation, we are actually accrediting them, and we're backing them, saying that these people are trained to be teachers. They're trained to go into the youth groups and teach. They're trained to go into churches and teach. They're trained to host one-day seminars in your church to teach. They've gone through, at this point, 8 3-day classes, full days. They've gone through rigorous workshops, and then they've also read and have written reports on somewhere between 30 and 50 books once we settle on that final number. This is going to be a major, major training. So on that, we thank you for our time today, the time you've given us today. And we'll be here to answer questions the rest of the morning.